Welcome to my Week 10 NFL predictions and best bets. As first, we have to do a mandatory recap of last week's games, and it was very abysmal for me on the betting lock side. I went 1-3, tied for my worst mark of the season, 2 games under 500 for a week. Definitely got to get that figured out. But a recap, I had the football team minus 2.5 against the Giants, and Kyle Allen, a grisly-looking injury, was not a good sight. Basically what Dak Prescott had. They had Alex Smith come into the game, and it was one of those really ugly NFC East matchups that really can go either way. Football team just made too many mistakes and got themselves into a big hole early on. Weren't able to pull it out in this one, so I lose that one outright as well. Giants end up winning. And then on to the Texans at the Jaguars. I had Texans minus 7. They end up winning. They were up by 8 with a few minutes left. They had so many chances to just get a first down at the end of the game and then kneel it out, but they didn't do it. Gave Jake Luton and the Jags offense the ball, and the Jags got the touchdown, missed the 2-point conversion. This is the second time this exact same thing has happened to me, where I have a team favored by 7, and then the other team is down by 8. Gets the touchdown, but doesn't happen in the 2-point conversion. I got that with Ravens-Eagles earlier. It's a sad way to lose, but it happens. Then Ravens-Colts, which I was the most confident in, actually ends up happening. Ravens played well in the second half, and as I predicted, Phillip Rivers and the Colts crumble in the second half after playing a great first half, but only being up by 3 points. So my only win there. And then Seahawks-Bills could not have been more wrong. Bills get 4 turnovers off of Russell Wilson. Very imperfect performance. Josh Allen just straight up annihilated that Seahawks defense. Seahawks defense is one of the worst in the league, and they actually played well against the 49ers in Week 8, so I thought there might be something there. It also was a 10 a.m. body clock game, but the Seahawks are usually good in those. So I go 1-3 on the betting lock side of things, but I actually do very well in my game predictions. It's just the pattern of this year. Pretty bad on the betting locks, but great on the game predictions. Overall, I'm 13-16-2 on the betting locks. I have 4 coming up this week, so hopefully a majority or all of those can hit, get me back on track. And then the game predictions, an 11-3 week, a bounce back from Week 8. 93-39 on the year. You won't get much better than that for the game predictions. So on to Week 10, and in the Thursday night action is actually my first best bet of the week. Give me the Titans minus 1 against the Colts. And this has just been a trend for the Colts. I feel like they have had a relatively soft schedule thus far in the season. The only great teams that they've played, if you even want to call them great, are the Browns and the Ravens, and they got beat up by those two teams. It didn't look particularly close. I'm not sure if Titans and Derrick Henry are going to be able to run all over this defense. I think Ryan Tannehill will do some things in the passing game, and they'll put up enough points, and when it comes down to it, you never really feel comfortable betting on Phillip Rivers because he might just throw the game away. And the Colts offense put up 200 total yards first half, only had 10 points, and then got shut out in the second half where they had, I think, less than 100 total yards. This is just not a consistent team. They can beat up on bad teams, which is what you saw when I betted on them against Detroit, but against the good team in the Titans, I don't think they'll fare well. Give me the Titans to win the game and cover the 1-point spread. Next game, second best bet of the week, and I have the Giants getting a narrow upset. This is going to be a very close game, but I have them plus 3.5 for a betting lock. And the reason being, these two teams met a few weeks ago, and the Eagles won very narrowly, but it was the Giants' game to win. It was in Lincoln Financial on a Thursday night. And these NFC East matchups, as I already mentioned, they are very close. The Giants and football team have played twice this season, and they were both within 3 points. These two teams were decided by 1 point on Thursday Night Football, and Giants looking very good in the past few weeks. I mean, they barely lost that one to the Bucs on Monday Night Football. Looked good last week. And then the Eagles, I mean, they're coming off of a bye, but I don't think it'll help very much. They're getting a few players back from injury, but they're still a crippled squad. So give me the Giants narrowly, but I'm much more confident in my spread prediction, plus 3.5. Next game is a very lopsided matchup. Give me the Packers over the Jags. Packers bounced back last week, annihilating the Niners on Thursday Night Football, as practically everyone presumed they would. Jaguars and Jake Luton, will they be able to do something here against the Packers defense? I think not. I mean, the Packers will just get an early lead, I'm guessing, and then their pass rushers will just be able to tee off on that Jaguars offensive line. And Jake Luton, I don't think James Robinson, their running back, will have a big day on the ground. Give me the Packers big here. Next game, some COVID concerns. We have the football team at the Lions, and this is just a classic Lions win against a bad team, or maybe make it close, but just give me Detroit here. Matthew Stafford cleared concussion protocol. They really got beat up by the Vikings last week, but make no mistake, Vikings much better than the football team. The Vikings with Dalvin Cook could just run it all over Detroit. Football team with Antonio Gibson can't exactly do the same thing. I think Alex Smith does help them, but I'm just going to narrowly pick the Lions, a more established team at this point in the season, to get their fourth win. Next, we have the third best bet, and one I'm very confident in. I'll take a favorite here. The Browns -3 against the Texans. And reason being here, I mean, the Texans' defense is atrocious. Their only 2 wins are against the Jags, which do they honestly even count? And you're only giving me, I'm only taking 3 points here. The Browns off of a bye. They had an ugly game against the Raiders, but they're getting Nick Chubb back, and I think the game plan will just be run it all over this Texans defense, dominate time of possession, put up a lot of points, and if the Texans want to compete, it's gonna have to be a shootout, and I just don't see a real possibility of the Texans winning this game. So give me the Browns to cover there. Next game, we have the Bucs at the Panthers, and these two teams faced off week 2. Bucs, after they lost the first time to the Saints, they bounced back in this one, and give me them to do it again. That was very concerning last week against the Saints. I actually called that upset, but I was not expecting what we saw there. 35 points on Sunday Night Football. Not a great performance for Tom Brady and the crew, but I think they'll get it back. I mean, Panthers will compete with anyone. They showed it last week against the Chiefs. I mean, long field goal to potentially win that game. Got Christian McCaffrey back, but when it's all said and done, I mean, Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, they know they need this game. Can't let the season spiral out of control. Still got to stay in contention in that NFC South. Give me the Bucs to win here against the Panthers. Next game, it's a slight upset. I mean, I don't really know what to do in this one. Neither team is very reliable, in my opinion, at this point, but give me the Chargers. I just think they're the better team. On the road, I think they're 2.5-point favorites, but I can't make it a betting lock because the Chargers have a tendency of blowing games at the end. I mean, they should have much more than 2 wins. This is the Herbert versus Tua matchup, and Tua actually looked decent last week, but they did get it pretty lucky. They've gotten defensive touchdowns the last 2 weeks. They got pretty fortunate with the bad break of the Cardinals kicker missing short on a 49-yard field goal. I think they probably got outplayed last week against the Cardinals team, which does have some holes, and the Chargers got to be desperate for a win at this point. Give me the Chargers here. Next game, we have the Raiders, who can really compile wins now. I mean, they've gotten the bulk of their hard schedule out of the way. This is their first contest against the Broncos, who got battered last week against the Falcons. Give me the Raiders to win this one. Derek Carr on that offense shredded the Chargers defense. They'll be able to do the same thing against the Broncos defense. And Drew Lock is just frankly too inconsistent to pick the Broncos. I mean, he got it together in the fourth quarter of that Chargers game, but basically throughout the Falcons game, even against an abysmal defense, in Atlanta, he wasn't able to do many things except for some garbage time scores for Denver last week. Give me the Raiders there. And then a sneaky good matchup not many people are paying attention to, Bills at Cardinals. And give me the Bills in the upset here. I mean, the Cardinals, they lost earlier in the season to the Lions. It was a game that they shouldn't have lost. I mean, maybe you could argue that this Dolphins game that they just lost last week, and then it turned into a second loss where they weren't able to bounce back, playing across the country against the Panthers. And this is a much better team. This might be the best team that they faced in the Buffalo Bills. They've had a pretty soft schedule so far. Kyler Murray won't be able to do much against that ferocious Bills front, which absolutely demoralizes the Seahawks offense and Russell Wilson. I think Josh Allen will have a day against the Cardinals defense, which Tua shredded, so give me the Bills there. And then Niners at the Saints. Niners battered with injuries. I mean, what can you really say at this point? They don't have many people playing. They do get a few people back because of the COVID negatives that have come through the organization this past week, but I don't really see much offense for them. And with how good the Saints looked against the Bucs, it's going to be pretty hard to envision a win here for the 49ers, but they are getting a 10-day break, and Kyle Shanahan, when they really need a win, he can scheme up some things for them. Nick Mullins, it's going to be one more start for him, so some more experience within that organization. They're going into a bye. Maybe they can get it, but give me the Saints. Next game, we have the Seahawks at the Rams. Another great matchup, NFC South battle. These are going to be of the utmost importance going into the end of the season. And give me the Seahawks here narrowly. I know I picked them last week against the Bills, but still there's something to be said for Russell Wilson winning these shootouts, and the Rams are not as good as that 5-3 record indicates. 4 of those wins are against the NFC East. I still have some concerns about that offense. I mean, they are going against one of the worst defenses in Seattle, but how much will they be able to capitalize? And then Russell Wilson, I think he'll bounce back in a major way after that Bills loss, shredding up the Rams defense. Give me the Seahawks narrowly here, but this is really a toss-up in my mind. And then the Bengals and the Steelers. This might be closer than many presume it will be because of the COVID concerns within the Steelers organization. But they're 8-0. I think they'll bounce back after that Cowboys win. That really feels like a loss. And we saw the Bengals. They look very competitive against almost every team, but against the Ravens, who are the cream of the crop in the AFC North, they got demoralized, lost 27-3, no signs of life. I think this might be like that. It's going to be raining at Heinz Field, so I think that primarily benefits the Steelers. Give me the Steelers in this one. On to the Sunday Night Football matchup, and give me the Ravens here. The Patriots, that win against the Jets really kept their season afloat, but it was against the measly Jets, and they're coming onto a short week here. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens haven't looked too good in this season, but this is one of their first nationally televised games this season. I mean, they obviously got whooped up by the Chiefs on that Monday night game earlier in the year. This one is a primetime Sunday night game against a pretty abysmal Patriots team. I mean, the only way that the Patriots can win is make it close, and then somehow maybe Cam Newton can do something at the end if they own time of possession. I just don't see that here. Give me the Ravens. And then my fourth and final betting lock of the week. Vikings at Bears. Kirk Cousins gets his first Monday Night Football win. Give me the Vikings to cover -2 against the Bears. The Bears 5-1 to start the season, lost 3 straight. I'm saying it's going to be 4. Vikings just ran it all over the Lions last week, and I'm not sure that they'll be able to do the same against the Bears, but it's simply that the Bears' offense just looks lethargic. Offense in the National Football League should not look this difficult. I mean, the Titans' defense was not very good, and the Bears could not do squat until some garbage time points came in at the end. Give me the Vikings here. This is going to be a low-scoring battle, but I'm only swallowing 2 points, and I feel pretty confident in Minnesota here. So that's going to wrap up the predictions. Comment yours down below, and thank you for watching.